Hi, Sharon. Hi, Michael.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Geoffrey.
Just testing my audio. Am I audible enough?
Pardon?
Just checking my audio. Am I audible enough?
So I'm a bit worried because we've got no participants so far.
Yeah. That is a worry. Yeah, you're right.
Because
Yeah, by this time.
there were 40 or 50 who registered.
Let me just check here. Yeah, there is 61 who registered. Just wondering why. Yeah, because I think although we haven't yet started it, it should be, people should be like showing up on the waiting list, right? Or we should click start. I don't know.
A little bit worried because the Zoom window here tells me that this is kind of a training session. Is that, do you see something like that as well?
Let me click start and see if people will join. Yeah, it says once you click start, attendees will join. So.
Okay, and you should make me co-host, otherwise I cannot share my screen.
All right, I'm just checking, is that Ben or Sam who has joined?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry, I've been talking for the past few minutes and have been on mute. Geoffrey, I am currently co-host because you initially entered. So can you please, yes, I see you made everyone co-host. Thank you, Geoffrey. And yes, oh, I see that people are now joining because we have clicked start the webinar. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to Advanced ID Editor training today. It will take a few minutes for everyone to arrive likely. So to start off, I would like to ask everyone if you can please share in the chat where you're joining us from and how long you have been mapping on the ID editor. Everyone, you can go ahead and share in the chat window. I will start. Benjamin Bills, Communications Associate with HOT, and I'm joining from Norway. And I have been mapping periodically for about 2 years now. And actually, let's have if Joffrey, Sharon, and Michael, if you can share the same information about yourselves, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Geoffrey Katerega. I'm also with the training working group based in Uganda, Kampala, but also working as the community manager at the Eastern and Southern Africa Open Mapping Hub. Happy to be here and looking forward to a session. Thank you.
Well, let me just continue. I'm Michael, the chair of the training working group, and I'm based near Munich, Germany, and I've been around Openstreetmap for something like 10 years now.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon Omonja from Openstreetmap Kenya. I've been mapping in the OSM since 2016 and part of the training working group since January this year. Welcome all to this training on advanced ID.
Okay, it has been a few minutes, so we can go ahead and get started. Who will be starting off the training?
That would be me, Michael.
Okay.
Yes, so welcome also from my part. Just to give you a quick overview of what you are going to learn here in this advanced ID training. I will start telling you something about mapping with artificial intelligence, which basically means mapping with a fork of the ID editor called Rapid. After that, Sharon will jump in and will make sure that you will learn how to validate using ID. This had not been possible in its early days, but in recent years, the ID folks added quite a number of useful features, and she'll show you some of them. And in the end, Geoffrey will tell you how to access the mapillary images and use that in order to solve some of the puzzles left by the usual aerial imagery. So yes, if there is anything unclear, so you can either use the chat or the Q&A window, and those of us who are not presenting will then take care of all those remarks. And yes, after each of these three parts, we will leave some time also for answering those questions. So, well, mapping with AI, that means there are a couple of ways how you can access that. One of that is from the HOT tasking manager. So you can look for projects which sound like Rapid. Well, it's not directly the best match of all, because Rapid is also, some rapid response could also hit that filter, but there are a couple of projects such as the ones here, mapping this county with Rapid, or here also roads with Rapid. Artificial intelligence means these are basically contributions from two companies. Facebook devoted some effort to evaluating roads with artificial intelligence, and that has grown pretty much worldwide. And Microsoft joined in later, extracting building information from aerial imagery using artificial intelligence. Outside of North America, that is unfortunately limited to just a few countries. And I will show you examples for both of those. And I would like to start with a flow showing one of these projects here. As usual, you select the project, you select one of those tasks in here, and then start the editor. The only thing you should do might be just showing you what it is like in here. You say contribute, and then you have just to make sure that your editor points to Rapid. And then when you select a task and say map it, then the situation is a little bit different, because usually when you map with ID, you see this completion instructions history part on the right, and here you see your ID. It is embedded in Manager. Embedding is not possible with Rapid. Therefore, Rapid opens in a window of its own. And well, at a first glance, it looks like the usual ID editor. You see, well, there has been quite some editing previously. And then you see, oops, there are some purple features which you haven't seen before. As usual, when the mouse pointer here is above a feature, you can see what it is like on the left side. And here you see, this is one of those Rapid features, one of those Facebook roads. And so the first and most important thing I would really like to tell you about Rapid is don't blindly trust artificial intelligence. We'll see a couple of examples where this is really not something you can blindly accept. So it may save you the hassle of just following the traces here, particularly if it's a longer road, but nevertheless, you still have to inspect, is it a road at all? Also for buildings, and is it properly placed? And then you have to make sure that the tagging is right. So let us, for instance, have a look at this one here. There is one in here. And there are two shortcuts you will really need very frequently, unless you want to dive here to all those menus. The first one is Control W, that toggles basically the map data layer. It says, oh no, sorry, it's Alt W. Alt W toggles the map data layer. That means you can switch off all the previous entries and have a better look at the imagery here. So pretty clearly, this is a residential road. It's the one which moves here through this building. And then we've got this feature. And there is a similar toggle for the Rapid layer, and that is Shift R. And with Shift R, I can toggle this one to have a closer look. And then I see, well, the left part of it is, well, basically the service road, which accesses that building. And that part here would be something I'd rather consider a track. And apart from that, the trace here isn't exact. So, and what is it like here? Well, the point is, they always apply highway residential to all those layers here, to all those roads. That's what Facebook does. So in this way, well, we definitely have a feature which is kind of a highway. We can accept it for the Openstreetmap database, but we have to do something with it. We have to split it because that will be two different kinds of highways, and we have to adapt the geometry. So what is the proper handling of all these bits? Unless you select it, you just can see it. When you select it by clicking it with a mouse, you've got two options. Either use this feature, there's also a shortcut for those here, or ignore this feature. What does it mean? Well, right now, Rapid uses a separate database for those artificial intelligence features. These purple roads, they are not yet in the Openstreetmap database. They are in a separate database, which this Rapid editor accesses. And when you say use this feature, it will be deleted from the artificial intelligence database, and it will be added to the Openstreetmap database. That's what we're going to do now. If you say ignore this feature because, well, you see, this is most definitely not a highway, then it means it is simply deleted from the artificial intelligence database and not added to Openstreetmap. So if you are unsure, then you shouldn't do anything with it, so that maybe another user who comes later, another mapper, can have a look at it and make a decision. Whatever choice you make, it will be permanently deleted from the artificial intelligence database here, which Rapid uses, and is not available later on. So that's a very important point to keep in mind. In this case, we say, well, we will use this feature. And oops, okay, haven't been logging in so far.
Okay. Just a moment, Michael.
Yep.
We have a question from Mienda. I'm going to allow them to talk. Mienda, you have your hand raised. Would you like to ask a question?
Oh, sorry. So there's just a mistake. I'm having connection issues. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah, just joining.
Okay, you're welcome. So now I added it to the, I said, I accept this feature. This means the purple line is gone. It has been deleted from the Rapid database. It's now just like anything else within the Openstreetmap database, but we are not done yet because, well, we said just now with Alt-W, I can toggle this data layer again. Yeah, we said we'd like to split it somewhere in here. So, and left line would be something like a service road, and the right one is certainly not a road at all. It's more or less a path. There are still a few bits missing, as I said. Well, this here doesn't really look nice, so we have to, okay, this was already connected. And let's do this one here, and let's say, put it down in here, and let's then just once again. Oh, just okay, it has no tags. That's for sure. It's just line. We wanted to say, let's make it a path. So, okay, and this one here is connected at all also. This is not always true. So you really have to make sure, are these features which you added, are they connected or not? And you have to make sure that they have the proper tags, because generally Facebook assigned something like residential road to everything here. So that would be the proper handling of this shape here. Let's see, okay, there are some something more down here as well. Yeah, this is another interesting situation here. If I simply switch off Alt-W here, and with Shift R those layers. What we can see here is, of course, there's some kind of well, residential road going around here, and there is also some kind of connection which moves here vertically. But there's probably this one here is an artifact. You won't really have a connection in here. So that means this is a clear candidate to ignore that. So let's ignore this feature. And switching all on the data layer with Alt W again. Yeah, this here is something which we have to simplify. This is not some roundabouts, some T-junction or anything like that. It is simply quite a normal junction. So what do I want to do with these here? I want to use this feature, and I want to use this feature here. And but I don't want to. So this is something we can delete and just make sure that this is a single junction here. Yeah, this is already well connected. We can adjust this a little bit, and of course we have to make sure that we're not running here into this building. And what about the tagging? It says residential road. That looks fine because these here are all residential roads. So the point is, when you're working with this Rapid on projects with roads, you almost always have to make sure that you edit it. There are some artifacts, as we've seen here. You have to make sure the tagging is right. You have to make sure that they are properly connected to the existing road network. And yes, you have to make sure that they don't run into buildings. So you may have to adjust the geometry a little bit. And I've also seen some proposed areas out there in the wild. If I, again, remove the other layers temporarily, or W for the data and Shift R here for Rapid, then, well, this doesn't look like a real connection to anywhere important. So in this case, unless the project here tells us that we really need to trace everything, I would strongly suggest that, well, this is really necessary because this really doesn't access any settlements. So what usually helps is having a look at the instructions and have a look whether they mention something in here. Well, this is just, again, how to use the AI. And yeah, they will. Okay. Sometimes the instructions explicitly tell us either to ignore or to map really everything we can, but usually we're interested in roads which access settlements, and so I'm inclined to skip this one. As I said, well, Rapid can either be used for roads and to a lesser extent for buildings. Currently, I didn't find any active project with buildings. I think one of the reasons might be that the buildings layer only covers a handful of countries. But I can, well, use this opportunity just to tell you, well, you could use Rapid directly without the tasking manager. So everything you have to do is you go to a browser and send it to mapwith.ai/rapid. This is a service presented by Facebook, and there you get the special fork of the ID editor, which uses this artificial intelligence database. So mapwithai.rapid, and that is the initial place. The Openstreetmap wiki also contains a little bit about the Rapid editor, and it also contains a list of countries where that is already supported. And for instance, Tanzania is one of those countries where buildings are supported on Rapid. And let's have a look at the southeastern town of Mtwara. And can make things a little bit quicker because I've already found a suitable place to look at. And there we are right in the middle. So in this case, it combines all these artificial intelligence layers. So we see, well, there are roads and there are a couple of buildings. And well, first of all, the thing we see is there is certainly some kind of misalignment with this Maxar premium layer. I think most of those features will have been traced from Bing exactly. So, and that also applies here to the existing roads. So as you can see, there is quite a lot of difference between the Bing layer and the Maxar layer. And in this case as well, it really looks like Maxar is way newer than Bing. But here we've got a couple of features which we can use for alignment. So let's scroll down the background, go to the imagery offset, and then make sure that these features here are aligned better. Okay. Now we made sure that this Maxar premium layer, which we're going to use, is well aligned with Bing. So, okay, now we see a couple of the problems here, that the roads have been extracted, I guess, from one of those Maxar layers. I'll switch to standard right now because standard in this case is pretty much the same. Yeah, the road is well aligned with the standard imagery, whereas the buildings were better aligned with Bing. So yeah, you have to do some realignment here. And there are a couple of problems which we can see here. First of all, there are buildings which most probably are no buildings at all. We've got, yeah, this alignment issue that now we have buildings running into roads. And so, yeah, there is always definitely a need for manual intervention. It's not easy, it's not difficult to understand where this comes from, because this road here seems to be quite new, and it is quite new. Looking at the older Bing imagery, we can see that, yeah, that was still some trace in here, dirt road. And I think, yeah, there was already some construction work going on. So this is most definitely not a building, but an artifact which Rapid here, the artificial intelligence algorithm, tried to find. So this would have to be skipped. This road would have to be realigned so that it's up there and not intersecting the building. And well, if you look at this, some of the building shapes seem to be quite good. If we toggle with Shift R on this Rapid layer, well, here the geometry seems really acceptable, and here as well. This might need a little adjustment. So I think the problem with this imagery layer here, even if we switch back to Maxar, is that these images, these phases, well, the buildings have been detected based on Bing, and there the contrast was not very good. Here with Maxar, we see that the contrast is better, but it's not ideal, and that might explain here, particularly here, why the shape has not been detected properly. So when you, well, basically, yes, the handling would be, as I explained to you previously, you would click on it and then you would either use or ignore a feature. But the buildings layer typically has a lot more work connected with it. And there is also another point we have to keep in mind. So these are tall buildings, because this building detection algorithm always looks at the roofs because these are easiest to detect. So what happens in here, this is a somewhat taller building, and usually we'd like the shape to be connected with where the building touches the ground. We want to map footprints and not roofs. So if you accept that shape, you'd have to shift it a little bit down there. So in this area, most of the buildings are not tall, so this should be not a really big deal. But yeah, something else to keep in mind. This looks odd. So what's going on in here? Lots of artifacts which at first we can't understand. Well, again, as I said, the building layer has been extracted from Bing. And well, lots of temporary structures like things on the ship and containers have been detected as buildings. So be careful when using artificial intelligence for buildings. The algorithm still is not quite good. And here you would have to scrap nearly everything which Rapid offers to us. I've seen a couple of rather strange bits when validating one of those projects. So I'd just like to okay. Move this over here and start the session. These are a couple of, I hope that you still see my screen, so let me know if this is not the case. Well, this is one of those projects with roads. As I said, well, the purple ones are from the Rapid layer, and we can either use or ignore the feature. Sometimes features ought to be merged if a way is split where it shouldn't be split. It likes to add those detours because, well, we say when we have an unsurfaced road which moves through the countryside, we want to have only one road in the database. Detours are many of those traces which we see in the desert which run parallel are of no use, no real value in the Openstreetmap database. So in this case, you would use the one which has the slower slope. So use the upper one and delete the lower one from the database because this is not really a useful addition to the database. This is something, as we saw it before in the example I was exercising with you, a false roundabout. Well, of course, this is not a roundabout at all. Make this a T-junction. Classification of highways is very important when you work with Rapid because usually it all starts with highway residential, and what it can end up here is something like that. We have unclassified highways which connect to other settlements, but they don't pass through this settlement. In this case, you would want this north-south highway to have this unclassified classification as well. And here it's partially, well, it's mostly residential, I think. And also the algorithm here left some unconnected stubs, well, particularly in here. So of course we want a road network which deserves this name. So please don't leave such stubs, but try to make sense and extend the grid here a little bit. Another point here, an unclassified highway up here, unclassified highways down here. And what do we see in between, either residential or even a path? Of course, that doesn't make sense at all. This looks wide enough that we can simply continue the unclassified highway and make sure it runs all through this village. Again, here, there is, this is sort of added as a path, but it provides access to a settlement, well, to buildings. That shouldn't be a path. That shouldn't be something like something like a track if it really doesn't warrant being something like a residential highway. So make sure that we get a consistent road network. Rapid doesn't help you there. So just keep an eye on not having a mosaic of different classifications for roads which guide traffic through a settlement. Yes, and with those remarks, that brings me basically to the end of my part here on working with Rapid. I think we don't have any questions so far. And then this would mean that we can step over to our next part, which would be Sharon talking about validating with ID.
Thank you, Michael, for that great session on RAPID. So thank you everyone once again for joining this webinar on advanced ID. I'm going to take you through validation in ID, and that involves how to handling issues, and as well, I'm going to take you through multi-polygons and relations. Yeah, so we are going to start with how to handle issues in ID, and I will share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, so this is Nairobi. Yeah, this is how Nairobi looks like. This is the map of Nairobi County, and this is the boundary. Yeah, so on validation, we all understand that the data, as mappers, the data that we are adding on Openstreetmap is useful for various humanitarian organizations, and the quality is important. Quality of the work that we are adding into OSM is important, especially for those dealing with response humanitarian actions in case of disasters and all that. So if the quality of the data that we are adding to OSM is good, then it makes the work of these humanitarian organizations on the ground better, and it makes it easier for them to understand whatever the area that they are operating on, and the various responses that they're making on the ground. Yeah, so for that reason whatever you map in OSM, you have to make sure that the data that you're adding on OSM is correct, and maybe they are not, you try to minimize the errors as possible. And that's why I'll jump straight to issues. For now, in this area, I haven't added any image. Yeah, but if you want to add image to ID, you can use this here, background settings, to add an image of your choice, or you can just, for shortcut, you can click on B on your keyboard and it brings you to the background option. For our case, you're going to use Maxar, standard imagery. And yes, this is how Maxar looks like. I'll just zoom into, okay, before that, let me, no, not really. Yeah, so when you look at my zoom level, you can see that there are buildings, and maybe your conclusion may be this area has not been mapped, and maybe you can start mapping without reading what is here. As you can see here, it states that there are 2,901 hidden features. So you have to zoom in so as to start seeing those features. And as you zoom in, you can see the number here reduces, the number of the hidden features reduces. And you can also start seeing the buildings that have been mapped by other mappers. Here is not so much mapped, the buildings, but you can see now, yeah, the buildings that have been mapped by other mappers as you zoom in. So these are the buildings, not so well mapped. Yeah, so after that, the thing that you have to do is, now we want to look at the errors here. You click on the issues, or you can use the shortcut I. Yeah, when you click on the issues here, we have two options. The first option is to check my edits, your edits in this area, if at all you map this area, and then in the current view. We also have everything and everywhere to check. So in the view, you can create, if you created an error when mapping, it will let you know that you are creating an error. And you should also know that not all errors will show up when you're mapping. Yeah, so that is something to note. Another point is, you should be aware of what errors are and what to look for when you're doing validation. So when I click on in my edits and in view, I don't think I'm going to find anything for me, because I didn't map this area. But let's say I open these tasks and I wanted to to validate all this work that was done by various mappers. Again, I press on issues and then I just click on everything and everywhere. So you can see now there are a lot of errors, building crosses building. So these are various errors. So what you have to do is first you fix up for these errors. There in this area there are 545 errors. So what is recommended first, fix only what you can. The errors that you don't understand, just leave them for another mapper who is able to understand them. Will fix them later. And then another thing to note is that not all issues might be wrong. Yeah, maybe it's just some error. So if you don't understand the error and maybe you don't see the error, you can just ignore. So for example, in our case, let me see this error, river crosses building. And now here it is. There is a river, you can see. Yeah, so you can see there is this river and there is this building. So the river crosses the building at this point. Let me just try to move these images. Looks like it was mapped with some different images. And then this building, you can move it to here. Then you can move the river. You can move the river far away from the building so that it doesn't cross the building. After you are done, you save your work. It's taking time to save. Just a moment. Please bear with my internet connection. It's taking time to save. Yeah, so basically if you are working on the errors, you have to like click on the various errors that you're working on, and it will take you to, no, there is this another issue. Now you can see the one here, the error that we had here has been handled. So you can work on the issues one by one, and as I said, only fix the errors that you can. Those that you cannot work on, just ignore them. Someone else will come and fix them. So that is just all about issues. That is all about handling issues and correcting the various errors that a mapper may have done. Yeah, so maybe sometimes you're working on a project and you've done your mapping. It's maybe according to you it's correct. It's always important to check the topology of the area that you're mapping before you close a task as completely mapped, even if you didn't map the other features in that area, or even if you didn't create an error. So it is always important to first check the topology of the features in your task before you stop mapping. Yeah, so that is all about issues. Do we have any question up to that point? Okay, I'll go to the next. How map data, how to use map data also to check various errors that have been made. For map data, you can use the F key on your keyboard, or you can just use this. Yeah, so we have various data layers. We have the Openstreetmap data. This is data that have been added by mappers. We have Openstreetmap notes. We have keep right issues. We have to improve OSM issues, and we have osmosis issues. So if you want to check for errors that may have been made by other mappers or any other issues, you can check this one for various notes or comments that have been left by another mapper. You can also check on keep right issues. Keep right is a quality assurance tool for in OSM, and yeah, you can also check on improve OSM issues and osmosis issues. Osmosis is also a quality assurance tool in OSM. Yeah, in my view, maybe you cannot see them clearly of what we have added, but if you zoom out, I think now you can start seeing them. Here we have a Kiprite issue here. This says that the node is not a member of any way and does not have any tags. Let's see this. This says that fix geometry so that buildings do not overlap, so that there is a overlapping building there. Another, let me try, see if there is okay, in my view, I can see only Kiprite issue and osmosis issues. Let me see this one. This says the two features overlap with no shared nodes. I think you can see the error, the description of the error on this point. So if you want to validate this data, you just click on the various issues that show up. Let's say like this one. This one says that two features overlap with no shared nodes. So let's try to solve this one. There is an overlapping with these two features and they do not share nodes. So if you want to share nodes, what you do, let's click on, it's also crossing a road. The building here is also crossing a road. So we can move it. We can move the building. I think there was a very different imagery that was used in mapping this area. Yeah, so we can move the building away from the road. Let's just move it. Let's see. Let me see here. This area is not well mapped, especially the buildings. So there's just a lot to work on here. But let's just try and work on one issue here. So there was this building and this building that were overlapping with no connections. So if in case they share a common wall, we can, if they share a common wall, we can merge the nodes for this. Okay. Just a moment. Let me try and look at an area that maybe, okay, let's look at this issue. I don't know that not working. Yeah, so for this issue, it says rock stage has a name rock stage, but no other tags. So we can add a tag to that one. We can work on this one. So Kiprite, that's a Kiprite issue. So we click on it, then but no other tags. Yeah, so when you click on the issue, it's supposed to give it's supposed to give you the options to work on the issue. Just a moment, I'm trying to. Okay, we have this one, and then object. Okay, yeah, here it is. Yeah, so we can add a tag. It's is it a station bus stop? Yeah, it's a bus stop. You can just give it a bus stop category, yes. And after you're done with the fixing an issue, you can leave a comment on what you are doing. Let's say we were adding a tag, and then you can save comment and you close the issue. After you've closed the issue, that means that the issue is fixed, has already been fixed. But if you find an issue, let's say this issue, now we have this issue here. But when you look at it, it isn't really an issue. So you can click on remove the issue, or like it's a false positive, because I told you that not all issues may be issues. Some may be just some errors. Yeah, so that is all to do with the issues. And if you have any other question, if there is some questions, maybe I can take them before we continue. Yeah, so when working with issues, I repeat, just fix all that you can. What you cannot, just leave it to another mapper who may understand the errors and try to fix them. Yeah, so the next part that we're going to work on is multi-polygons and the relations. I hope I'm not moving too fast. Yeah, so we're going to work on multi-polygons and relations. Just a moment, let me just move this issue. Data, let's remove the data. Yeah, so on relations and multi-polygons, relations are used to describe like relationships between objects. For example, a house that may have different heights, or a house with a courtyard. We can use relations for that. We also have multi-polygons. So multi-polygons are used to combine more than one completed feature in a polygon to make it one. Yeah, so for relations is when you use a number of different components added together to make one feature. Same as multi-polygons, you combine more than one completed features in a polygon to make it one. So I'm just going to give a brief explanation of like what we mean. I'm going to use this space here that has not been mapped. Yeah, this is on space that has not been mapped. So let's say like we are creating a line feature. Yeah, we have that line feature here. So for this line feature, we have this node, we have this second node, this third, fourth, and the fifth node. So let's say any single node that you make have each node has a unique specific number. So let's say this is node 1, this is node 2. The 2 is the unique number for this node. This is node 3, node 4, node 5. And let's say on this other side, you have another line. Yeah, so this is another, sorry, I haven't tagged them yet, but this is just, I'm trying to explain what we're going to talk about more in details, that is relations. So, okay, this was node 5. And this side we have, let's say this is node 6, node 7, node 8, and node 9. So each node has a unique number. But let's say you want to combine these two nodes here. Let's just move it here. So this was node 5, and we have node 6 here. When you combine these two, now this becomes node 5. I don't know how. Yeah, so now this becomes node 5, because for a feature to join, they must have a unique number on the join. We can't join. Now you see like it's 1. We can't join if they're two different features. If you click on, let's say you want to click on this one, you click on this and try to combine, you have this note here that the points are not connected, so merging cannot be done. So you can only merge when you have a unique number on the join. So that is like the nodes get a unique number for the join here. Yeah, so that is for the line features. Let me just delete this, not edit. Okay, just a moment. Now let me show you something. When you click on this and click on the other one and you try to join, you can see now the features are merged successfully, because we had the two nodes, node 5 and 6, joined to form one unique number that was node 5, and now the features are joined successfully. Yeah, so also another thing is, let me just Control Z. Let's say we have this as let's tag it as a path. Yeah, a path. Like a footpath, and then is it tagged really? No, let's just delete this. Yeah, what I'm trying to tell you is that for you to join two different features, the tags should be the same. Like you can't join a path, a feature that you have tagged as a path, and a feature that you have tagged as a maybe an unclassified. So let's try to tag. Let's tag this feature as a path. So footpath. I hope you get the tag. And then let's see, this one has no tags. The tag, we can tag it as a highway. Unclassified. So let's try to select these two features and join. So let's try to join them. Okay, wait. They have joined because of the that unique node that joined together. So it has taken them. It has taken the tag for the minor unclassified, but let me try to show you what I mean by you can't join two features if they are not tagged correctly. They're tagged differently. This is a path. Then let's add another feature, primary road. And let's select them. Select this and try to combine. There is a pop-up there that they can be connected. So if you want to merge two features, make sure you have to first make sure that the tags are the same, so that that's when it can allow you to join. And another thing also to note is make sure that the nodes have been joined, so that they have one unique node for you to be able to join. Okay, created a relation. Let me delete this feature. Okay, just let me try to delete this feature. Yeah, so let's start with something that I'm going to also try to explain. I'm still going to use this area because I can't seem to find a very good building to explain what I'm going to show. But let's say we want to map a building. You can use 3 on your keyboard or the area tool. So we have this building here. Yeah, after mapping a building, always ensure that your buildings are squared by selecting the building and clicking on Q on your keyboard to have your building squared. We're going to add a tag, building, yes. Yeah, so we have that building. We're also going to add another area feature inside this building. So let's say this was a school compound. Okay, let's just change this tag. Oh, sorry. I want to change. Let me change this tag to school. School. Let's say it's an academy, and we all know some of the features that you can find in the school at maybe the football pitch, the volleyball pitch, swimming pool, or even the classes. So within this that we have selected as school, we can add let's add a football pitch here, or rather a stadium. I'm just going to like draw it. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, this is not tagged. Okay. Let's just have that. Okay, let's have building like residential, and within the residential area we have maybe a football pitch. So the first thing that we have done, we have drawn a building which we have tagged, and then the other one that is inside the football pitch that is inside, we haven't tagged it. Now after that, we have these two features. One is tagged, the other one is untagged. So when you click both the features and you click on C, sorry, you select both features and click on C. Now the two are merged, and now here we have a relation is the one. Now we have the relations here. If you click on the outer relations, it tells you this is the outer relation, and it has no tag. The inner relation, if you click on the inner one, this is the inner relation, and the tag is area, yes. But now the whole relation, the tag is residential building. So let's say we wanted to change the tag for the inner relation. You just click on it and you can change the tag here. Let me just do something first before that. Okay, I had no. Let's have it there. Okay, it's done. Building. Yeah, so now we have to tag this one. We can tag it as leisure. Leisure equals to a pitch. Let's give it a football pitch, and now you can see now we have the football pitch inside the residential area. Yeah, so with this one, you first when you want to create such relations, you first have to create the whole polygon, like the multi-polygon first, and then now you add a tag. You don't add a tag when creating these two polygons. You saw we didn't add a tag to the inner polygon, so we add a tag after we have created the relations. Yeah, and also that's why it's recommended do not tag before completing a relation. So even with this, when we have the two, you can be able to adjust the components, like we can adjust the components of the pitch, and it doesn't interfere with the relations. When we are just adjusting the components of the pitch, it will not interfere with the relations. And then maybe let's say you want to move the two. When you click on the relation, this is the relation, and you try to move, you can see that it moves separately. They move separately. So when you want to move them at the same time, you have to select both. You select all the components of the relation and then move them. Now you can see they move at the same time. Another thing to note that you also can't add, you can try adding a new component in the relation after making a relation, and it's possible. Now we have this. It's always okay. It's not always possible most of the time to add a new polygon after making a relation. So before you start creating a relation, first understand all the components that you want in your relation. Add all the components first, and then you add a new relation. Another thing that you have to note is that to delete maybe a feature or a building, you first have to delete the relation, because you can't delete the building. So if you click on this one, if you right click, you can see that the delete is inactive, and it says this feature can't be deleted because it's part of a larger relation. You must first remove it from the relation. And even if you want to delete this one, now it's able to be deleted, but on the outer side, which is part of this relation, you can't be able to delete it. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to delete the relation first. So here we are. We have two relations. Let's remove this one. Yeah, so here is the relation. If you remove the relation and you want to delete this, now you can see that the delete is active, and you can be able to delete the feature. Let's try to, that is for like polygon features. Let's try to create relations with area features. And I mean with the line features. I'm also going to just demonstrate using this space that hasn't been mapped. So let's say this is a primary, a primary road. A name, let's call it Wayaki Way. Wayaki Way is a common way here in Nairobi. Yeah, so this is a primary, the tag is primary way, and the name is Wayaki Way. And then let's add another line. Let's add another line here. Let's say this is just a footpath. Yeah, that is it. And then, so on this other side, you can add, let's say there is another line that runs from this other side. We can call this a railway. Okay, I have used this example because it's common here, because we have the standard gauge railway and we have a major highway that are passing through a national park, that is the Nairobi National Park. So that's why I use that as an example. So if we try to select these three, and combine, we are not able to combine because it cannot combine because it have multiple tags. We have a primary road, we have a park, we have a railway, so it is difficult to combine. But we can, to create a relation, we can also click just the three features that we want to add a relation, and then on relations we can just click on add a relation. And then now here we have choose parent relations. When you click on it, it gives you, there is new relations and the others. So if you click on a new relation, what do we want to add? Let's say it's a boundary, it's the national park boundary. So the roads, the railway, and the park acts as the park boundary. So it's the park boundary. And then let's name the park, let's say it's Nairobi National Park. National Park. The type, it's a protected area. And now we have the members of these relations. So we have to give a role. We have to give the members in the relations a role. Like now here we have the primary road. You can see it's highlighted. So its role here will be outer, because it plays the boundary of the park. So it is outside the park. The park is inside here, so it is an outer relation. The park as well, you can give it a role. This is also outer. The light rail will give it also the outer role. Let's see if here the tag. Yeah, this is, let's see, this is correct. Type name. Yeah, this is correct. So when you now click on this, so when you click on this, now there is that relation. You can see the Nairobi National Park So it shows you all the members in this relation. So this is it. One thing that you can to note that is even if you have created relations, you can make readjustments to realign, and it won't affect your relation unless you want to disconnect a node, which you cannot. Yeah. So if let's say we want to readjust this part, you can readjust it, and it won't affect your relation. It won't affect the relation. Let's say you wanted to delete this feature, the path. As we saw with the working with polygons, when you want to delete the path, it won't able to let you delete the path, because in this case, what you're trying to do is breaking a relation, and that's why it prevents you from breaking that relation by not being able to delete the features. So as I said, remember to do all the components of the relations first before trying to add any other thing or trying to delete some of the nodes. Yeah, so if you delete or maybe alter a road, it may change. If you change or delete a road, it may alter the relations, but as you know, it may not allow you to delete the feature. Yeah. So our relations, this is just one of the examples that I use, but you can also note that our relations can be used in different classes of maybe roads. Let's say we have a motorway, and we have like bus routes, walkways, highways, and all that. So you can use relations to merge these components of in one feature. Yeah. So also like footpath, you can combine them so that they bring a route in the same way. Yeah, so that is all about relation. I don't think there is anything that I've left, but if there are questions, I welcome questions. Yeah, so maybe at your own time when you're going to practice what's here, you can find some features that you can try to work on to create relations with. Yeah, thank you. Hi, Michael. That is all from me.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Joffrey, I believe you are next.
Yep. Yes, I am. Yeah, thank you, Sharon. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to be looking at how to edit OpenStreetMap using ID editor and overlaying it with Street View images. And we are going to be using Mapillary. Ben, can you allow me to screen share?
Oh, yes, just a moment. There, you're now our co-host and should be able to screen share, Joffrey.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing mapping in Uganda in this small demonstration. So normally when we do mapping in OpenStreetMap, we use remotely, we use satellite imagery, but it has some few limitations that there's only a few things you can add, like roads, buildings, land use. But if you want to add more details of those features, then you have to know what is on ground. So either you have to, visit the place physically and pick information. But the good thing is that now there is more accessible Street View imagery that you can use to improve OpenStreetMap. And the good thing is that you can also capture your own Street View imagery and upload it to these platforms and then access it in OpenStreetMap and then use it for editing. So I'm going to zoom into a place called Mbale here. It's in Eastern Uganda. So the Openstreetmap Uganda community have been collecting mapillary images in the major cities across the country, and they are using that imagery to improve points of interest and local edits on Openstreetmap. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the edit mode of ID editor. So yeah, on display here, when you log into ID editor, you only see a few features, but if you of course zoom in at the cross lens, you'll be able to see more detailed features. So to be able to overlay street view imagery, you have to go to map data. So on your panel here of tools, have the zoom in, the zoom out. Of course, you have background settings. So right below background settings, you have map data. And once you have, you put on map data, you'll be able to see a couple of options. And one of them is photo overlays. So once you expand these photo overlays, you have different options. So there is Bing street side. If I switch it on here to see if there is any data existing in this area, I don't see any. If I switch on, there's another one called Openstreetmap CAM. There isn't any Openstreetmap CAM data in this area. But if I switch on mapillary, then I realize there is some green, dots which are displaying on the map. So these are images. Each green dot is an image that has been captured that I can use. Okay, it is a photo. And if I go here, there's also map features. So what mapillary does is that it uses machine learning to detect objects from street view imagery, and then you can use those objects to edit in Openstreetmap, add them to Openstreetmap. You can also add traffic signs, so it also automatically detects traffic signs as well. So you can see here there is a stop sign, there is a hump here, there is a traffic light here. So it kind of automatically depicts some of these. There's a crosswalk here. We call them zebra crossings in Uganda. So there is several things it detects automatically. So how do we now get those features and use them to add them to Openstreetmap? So what you have to do is just to select the feature. And once you select it, the picture will pop up in this square. There is a problem with mapillary today. Unfortunately, the images are not showing up. I was trying to check with them before the webinar, but I haven't heard from them yet. But hopefully it will be fixed soon. The good thing, there is an alternative way that I found that we can use to access these images, and that is through the tasking manager. So if you want to try this out today, it may not work, but you can try it out maybe tomorrow. The issue might have been fixed. For today, we are going to use the tasking manager and access the mapillary overlays through the tasking manager. So yeah, if I go to explore projects here, I'll choose a project number, which is 11196. I'll also drop it in the chat if anyone wants to bookmark it and try it out later. So, like I've said, Openstreetmap Uganda have been mapping Uganda's cities, and they are using the tasking manager to coordinate the effort, but they're using Mapillary. So they first went around and captured images, upload them to Mapillary. Now they are sitting down and adding this information in OpenStreetMap. So this is one of their projects, 11196. So I'm going to go ahead and go to contribute. Yeah, you can always read through the instructions if you're going to try this out. Yeah, and now I'll go ahead and I select a task. I already had a task selected here. So I'll just go ahead and resume mapping. I'm going to choose ID editor here. So yeah, what we were trying to see in ID editor on the OpenStreetMap website will also look like this. So if I click on a green dot, I'll be able to see the imagery here. Yeah, on the first click, sometimes it's also not showing up. So I think there's some kind of bug that needs to be fixed. But if you refresh, it should be able to show. Yeah, and Abrahman is saying in the chat there that OpenStreetMap Libya has captured a lot of OpenStreetMap CAM, which can also be accessed in the same way from the map data here. So maybe we can also try out Tripoli or one of the cities in Libya and try this out. So yeah, as you can see, I can see some images here that have been taken. So when I click here, then I can be able to move around. So as you can see, this yellow dot here shows me the image location. So where this image was taken from, the person was standing at this particular location. And I can see the username of the person who took the photo, but also the date on which this image was taken. So the image was taken in 2017. So you can see a clear difference from what you see from aerial view and what you see from street view. Of course, there is some obstructions. There is like a bus here on the street, but still there are some things we can already add to this. There's already some information we can pick from this image. One is the road condition. We can see clearly that this road is tarmacked. So we can tell like the road condition is good. So if I want to add that information, I can go here and add. So I've selected the road and I'm seeing it on the image. And now I can go ahead and add information and say, the surface here is asphalt. Okay, so I've just added the road condition, like the material for this road, which makes still the map more useful, because now someone will know, okay, this road condition is good. Okay, so that is one thing that you can add. The other thing I can always add from Mapillary images is always building levels. So for example, when I zoom into this building, I know, okay, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 4 levels, and I can easily add those building levels. The other thing you can add are things, like I said, which are detected automatically by Mapillary, like street lights, like power, like electricity poles, like power utility poles. I can also add points of interest. So talking about things like a shop, a petrol station, it can be a school, it can be a health facility. So really, when I have this street view, it would be the same thing like me being in that location. And that means I can, move on this street, and these things that I can add to the map. So I think this person was moving on a motorbike, or he was moving on foot, but I can also zoom in and see here. This is Discovery phone center, yeah, right at that location. So that's like a shop that I can add right here. So discovery phone center. So let me just actually add that as an example right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the point. So right on this building here, I'll add my point and I'll call it a shop. And I'll give that shop a name, which is Discovery Phone Center. And I can choose here a category of shop. Is it a convenience? Is it clothes? Is it hardware? Is it electronics? So I think since they're selling phones, I can categorize it as there's actually a mobile phone. So yeah, I've added a name of a shop called Discovery Phone Center, and it's a mobile phone store. And where did I get this information from? I got it from this mapillary image. There is also an office here for Alliance in Motion Global. I can also add that office. So there's already a lot of information I can pick here. There is a hardware shop right on top below this building. So I can also add that hardware shop. So I'll add it as a point. Still on this building, I'll add point shop. The name is N hardware. If I was able to read like the phone number, I would also add the phone number, but I'm not able to. But I'll select the type of shop and add it as hardware. So right here, hardware store. So you can see here it has 3 things that I haven't saved yet to the map. Maybe I can save those and then continue mapping. So added hardware, a phone center, phone shop, and road condition using Mapillary Street View. Okay, so we'll upload my changes. So I've just improved the map a bit using Street View imagery. Sometimes you also find fix me tags. So some people find the things and they're not clear and they add a fix me tag requesting for anyone else to fix me tag. So you can also use Street View imagery if you find a fix me tag, and you can kind of you can kind of fix some of those issues. So I'm going to go ahead and find some more things that we can add to the map. So you can also just play here, and then when you find something interesting, you can stop. Yeah, let me just go ahead on this street and find more images. So this was captured by another person called Hamba Yusuf, and this is like very new. It is 2021. But also you have to know, like sometimes the quality of the camera is not very good of the person who is taking the photo. So that can be a limitation. So what I normally do is to find the images that are available and find like which one was kind of well taken, and also using a good camera that is more clear. So I'm going to find this one, this side. Yeah, so I've just selected the person who took this side of the road, and you can see here this imagery is a bit more clear. It was playing automatically. Now I've stopped it so that I can just move it manually. So if I zoom in here, there is a mobile money shop where people like can go and withdraw money from their phones. I can also see the name of the shop. It's called Best Bee. So I can easily add that information to the map, but let me just find something else. I'm going to add the number of building levels on this building here because it is showing me here. Let me just go in front of this building. So we are seeing the building here, and it's already mapped on Openstreetmap right here. But when you check, it doesn't have building levels. So it says building here, but doesn't have the attribute of building levels. So I can add building levels, and that's what I'm going to do. So when I zoom out, actually, I'll first move back a bit and count the number of building levels. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has 4 building levels, and I can add that to the building. So I can add other tags. Let me see here, levels. So have name, address, screens. Okay, because it is a cinema hall, it is asking for number of screens, but I'm not sure of the number of screens. So I'll just leave that. But I want to add on another tag, which is levels. So levels, and I'll add 4 levels here. Yeah, and that's it. So I've just added the number of building levels on that building. Yeah, and Meander is saying he feels like he's in Uganda right now in the chat. So I think that's like the beauty of Street View imagery, because if you have never been to this city in Uganda, you can now start having a feel of, you know, what happens there, but at the same time doing that when improving OpenStreetMap data. So it's like a win-win situation. You explore some place you have never been to, while at the same time adding useful information to OpenStreetMap. So I've just demonstrated how to add building levels, and now I'm going to go ahead and add something else. I want to add like maybe a street light. I want something that has been detected automatically by Mapillary. So let me make sure here that traffic lights and map features is visible, is switched on, and then I'll find out something that has been detected automatically. So yeah, right here on Market Street, there is a utility pole, which has been detected automatically by Mapillary, but I want to check, is there a utility pole? And if it's there, I will confirm and I'll add it to OpenStreetMap, because this detection is in OpenStreetMap. I mean, it's on Mapillary, but it's not on OpenStreetMap yet. So my work is to confirm that it is there, and then I will add it. So I've just loaded the imagery here, which is kind of showing me what is at this place, but the image is not very clear. Okay, yeah, I've just loaded using another imagery. So let's try to move around. So what can we add here? Yeah, the image was a bit far, so not really very visible. So I'll just move alongside my map and find other things that I can add. I think this is like a marketplace. Can see cars, roll is being offloaded. So just navigating more until I find something that I want to add. There is here something. Yeah, I wanted to add like the name of this shop, but the image only captured part of it. Okay, yeah, I want to find something that has been detected automatically by Mapillary. If you look at this, this is a street light, which has been detected automatically by Mapillary. But let's move there to that photo and see where that was captured. Yeah, I can't find the street light. Maybe sometimes the detection is not accurate, so you have to be you have to use like now the human eye to kind of confirm. So I think there's something interesting here. There is a bank which is called Equity Bank, so I can actually add this bank to the map. So the person was standing here and looking across the street. So you can see from the direction of this yellow arrow where the person who took the photo was focusing their camera. So yeah, right here on this building, that's where the bank is, and I'm going to add it to the map. So I'll go to point, click on this building, add a point, and then I'll search for bank. And then I'll add the name as Equity Bank. So that is something to keep in mind. The imagery might detect something, but you as the person who is mapping OpenStreetMap, you are the one who is going to confirm that that thing is there, and then you add it to OpenStreetMap. So I'll go ahead and save my changes and just point out what I've added. Added bank and building levels. So yeah, like I've mentioned, there is a long list of things that you can add. If you find a petrol station, as a shop, a restaurant, a street light, you can add road conditions, you can add building levels, and improve OpenStreetMap, but at the same time when you explore some of these places that you have never been to. But most importantly, if this imagery is not available for your city, where you stay, your town, your village, you download the app on your phone, and then you move around, take the imagery. So the app is called Mapillary. You upload it to OpenStreetMap. So you upload it to a Mapillary, but then access it in ID editor or JOSM. There is a plugin for that as well, and contribute to OpenStreetMap. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show, and we'll end there and yeah, take on any questions if there is any. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can put up your hand or ask in the chat. Yeah, if no questions, back to you, Ben, to wrap it up.
I do not see any questions at this time. Okay. Is there anything else for the training today?
Yeah, I think that was the last part. Yeah, maybe Michael can.
Yeah, that's exactly true. This was the last of those 3 parts. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. And if after this webinar you have some questions, well, you're not lost. You can always reach out to us. Send us either an email to mapper-support@hotosm.org. If you're interested in helping us out here at the training working group, either in producing webinars or keeping our website learnosm.org up to date, send an email to training@hotosm.org. For questions, you can also join the hot Slack through slack.hotosm.org. And once you are joined, there is a Mapper support channel where you can ask your questions. And quite generally, if you are interested to learn more about the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team and how you can become active there, just have a look at our website, where you can find all the information you should need there. And yep, I think unless there are any questions or raised hands, I think, yeah, thank you for joining us in these 1.5 hours. And I hope it was useful for you. And yes, the next upcoming webinars will then deal with a more advanced editor DOSM. So watch out for the usual channels if you're interested in that. And
thank you.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you to you, Michael, Joffrey, and Sharon for leading the training today. Yes, please do reach out to us if you ever have any further questions. And also keep an eye on the Mapper support channel, as well as HOTS social media for announcements of other trainings. And thank you all, and happy mapping.